now excited to invite Sarah Locke. So Sarah can come off. There we go, her camera. Sarah is the Senior VP of Policy and Brain Health and Executive Director of the Global Council on Brain Health at AARP. And she's going to discuss their recent report on us, or report with us on music and brain health. And then my hope is that Kathleen's willing to come back on again, as she will be joining us in our conversation. So Sarah, back first to you. We're thrilled to have you with us today to share more about the Music on Our Minds report and show how music can potentially help treat brain conditions such as dementia and improve overall brain health.
Thank you, Phyllis. It's great to be here, and I'm excited to participate with the Global BrainTrust on this conversation. AARP has been a part of the Women's Brain campaign for since it started, and having the opportunity to work with all of you is a great pleasure. I'm going to try to share my screen with some slides. So let's try that. Okay, is it showing up all right?
We've got you.
Terrific. So I'm all the way scrolled down to the bottom. Thank you. I wanted to tell you that the brain report that I'm talking about from music is the work of the Global Council on Brain Health, AARP's collaborative that we've been supporting 200 plus brain health experts from around the world working on areas of brain health of interest to older adults. You can see here that we have people from all over the world, but I wanted to give a shout out. I see that there are quite a few people in this conversation that we're having today in the chat on the participant list that have been liaisons or help to the Global Council on Brain Health. So it's great to see you all here. But the Global Council on Brain Health tries to address areas of interest around the science behind what works and what doesn't to impact your brain health as you age. And so you can see here this picture of the experts that joined us right before COVID hit. It was the last meeting we held at AARP, members of our governance committee and issue experts in a meeting moderated by Dr. Sanjay Gupta, where we were able to do a deep dive on the science behind whether music can actually impact your brain health. And you'll see our report is available on the website, and I put it in the chat if you want to take a deeper dive into some of the scientific research behind the very high level information that I'm going to summarize today. So it's interesting, we were talking about the decades of research that are necessary in science and technology before you can begin to implement it and use it to change outcomes for people. Music is something that we've known about for centuries, and it's something that almost innately we understand can be helpful for us. But you may not realize that music has incredible powers to stimulate your brain. In fact, during the work that we did on the music report, people were constantly remarking that there's nothing else that simultaneously affects more regions of your brain all at the same time. We know from the existing science that it can promote mental well-being, and it stimulates your thinking skills. Music from the perspective of prevention encourages movement and exercise. It makes everything you do to reduce your risk for cognitive decline, whether that's exercise or social interaction or cognitive activity. Music kind of greases the skids, if you will, to encourage those healthy behaviors. But when you look at its effect on the body, you can see that it helps regulate blood pressure. heart rate, and actually reduce stress. Some of the biochemicals in your body are actually affected and have been studied when you're looking at music on the human body and on the human brain. One of the questions people always want to know, is there one kind of music that is better for the brain? Is there a particular style? Everybody has heard about music for babies, for Mozart, for baby in Euro. Well, what about musical styles? Well, it turns out that whatever genre of music you like and speaks to you can have beneficial effects. ARP, along with bringing together scientists from all over the world, does surveys of people, in this case, these were adults 18 and older, to look at what they preferred by age group. And you won't be so surprised, but if you take a peek at this, when you look at the most popular genres by age, these are the genres that really speak to these generations. But there's a lot of heterogeneity amongst people, and music is a very personalized kind of experience. I mentioned the survey that we did. Over 3,000 people, a nationally representative survey of adults 18 plus, in which we were able to also look specifically at African Americans, Asians, and Hispanics. But what was fascinating is that there were not such big differences by racial or ethnic groups, but there were some differences in people according to how much they actually currently and in the past have engaged in music. And we found an interesting association, which we're not saying it's causal, but we found over and over again that people reported a higher brain health and better mental well-being, lower average levels of anxiety and depression, and above average mental well-being scores if they were regular users and consumers of music. And here we're talking just listening to music, not even necessarily playing. So the council looked at the existing science and made some very specific recommendations, encouraging people to incorporate music in their lives. And that can take almost any form: dance, sing, movement, participating in music, whatever speaks to you and engages you in music. And listening to familiar music is important because it brings back good feelings and mental well-being and familiarity. But try to expand your horizons and think about listening to new music in ways that gets your brain and your synapses moving in slightly different ways. But perhaps the most powerful impact is making music yourself. Now, you don't have to be Ella Fitzgerald in order to sing. You have to be somebody willing just to engage in the act of making music, and that can have a powerful effect on your brain health. Now, I see I'm just down to 25 seconds, so I wanted to quickly go through the rest of my slides and say I'm happy to talk about this more in depth in our conversation. But community-based groups such as Encore, incredibly powerful, both for its socialization and its impact on brains. Virtual platforms and social media can also be beneficial. Okay, that's my high sign of warning that it's almost time. So music therapy is useful both in physical and mental health conditions. And the relationship of music and movement are particularly important and have been shown to have demonstrated benefits in neurodegeneration and recovery for stroke, for example, learning how to speak and move again. Helping to connect and strengthen caregivers, reduce anxiety and behavior, we found positive associations in the treatment for dementia. And we wanted to emphasize that no matter your age, no matter your physical conditions, music improves mood and encourages social connections, benefiting patients and caregivers alike. Here's more information. It's available in English and Spanish, infographics in multiple languages. And I wanted to say, because we want to talk about policy, we're going to talk a little bit more, hopefully, about the NeuroArts blueprint and how to advance the science around music and brain health. Thank you.